Welcome to Interesting History. Please like, subscribe, and comment below for more interesting history. The rich and storied history of Hong Kong is marked by its struggle for democracy against the backdrop of Chinese suppression. From its colonial past under British rule to its current status as a special administrative region of China, Hong Kong's journey towards democracy has been fraught with challenges and setbacks. In this video, we will explore the key moments in Hong Kong history that have shaped its democratic aspirations, as well as the ongoing struggle to preserve these values in the face of increasing Chinese interference. The colonial legacy of British Hong Kong. During its time as a British colony, Hong Kong underwent transformative changes that shaped its societal, political, and economic landscapes. The British colonial era, stretching over a century from 1842 to 1997, introduced Western-style institutions, legal systems, and modes of governance, laying a foundation that would later nurture aspirations for democratic governance. The colonial government implemented a capitalist economy and established a robust legal framework, which contributed to Hong Kong's emergence as a global financial hub. These developments, while beneficial in fostering economic prosperity, were not without their complexities. British rule in Hong Kong was characterized by a limited form of democracy, with the governor appointed by Britain and the majority of the Legislative Council members either appointed or holding seats ex officio. It was only in the latter years of colonial rule that steps toward a more representative form of governance were taken, including limited direct elections to the Legislative Council. This period also saw the rise of civil society with the formation of various professional groups, labor unions, and political parties, setting the stage for the vibrant civic activism that would define Hong Kong's later push for greater democracy. Yet the British legacy in Hong Kong is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it introduced concepts of rule of law, freedom of expression, and the seeds of democratic governance. On the other, the limitations placed on democratic development during colonial rule left Hong Kong in a precarious position at the time of the 1997 handover, navigating the promise of one country, two systems, with an incomplete democracy and an uncertain future. The handover and the one country, two systems promise. In 1997, a pivotal moment in Hong Kong history unfolded as the territory was officially transferred back to Chinese control. This transition was anchored by the innovative One Country, Two Systems framework, an arrangement that promised to preserve Hong Kong's capitalist system and way of life for 50 years post-handover. At the heart of this promise was the assurance of maintaining Hong Kong's legislative and judicial independence, safeguarding the rights and freedoms enjoyed under British rule. The optimism surrounding this agreement was palpable, with many in Hong Kong and the international community viewing it as a feasible model for integrating the territory into China while retaining its unique identity. This framework was seen as a testament to the potential for coexistence of different political systems within a single nation-state. However, the implementation of the one country, two systems principle soon encountered challenges. Discrepancies in interpretation and the gradual encroachment of Beijing's influence on Hong Kong's autonomy raised concerns. Incidents that seemed to undermine the territory's judicial independence and the gradual insertion of mainland China's ideological and political directives into Hong Kong's governance sparked anxiety among its citizens. These developments sowed the seeds of discontent and fueled the drive for greater democracy and autonomy, setting the stage for future demonstrations and movements advocating for the preservation of Hong Kong's unique status. This period marked the beginning of an increasingly fraught relationship between Hong Kong and the central government, highlighting the complexities and challenges of maintaining one country, two systems. Early signs of democratic movements in Hong Kong. The roots of democratic movements in Hong Kong can be traced back to well before the significant events of the 2014 Umbrella Movement. In the years leading up to the handover in 1997, there was a growing sense of political awareness and desire for greater democratic participation among the people of Hong Kong. This period saw the emergence of various pro-democracy parties and civil society organizations advocating for electoral reforms and a more transparent and representative government. Public rallies and demonstrations, though smaller in scale compared to later protests, began to take place with increasing frequency, signaling a populace eager for a say in their governance. The early 2000s marked a critical phase in the evolution of Hong Kong's democratic movements. The proposed Article 23 legislation in 2003, which aimed to enact laws against acts perceived as treasonous or subversive against the Chinese government, brought hundreds of thousands of Hong Kong citizens to the streets in peaceful protest. This massive public outcry was a clear demonstration of the residents' commitment to safeguarding their rights and freedoms, as well as a critical moment that showed the potential power of collective action. The successful opposition to the legislation was a significant victory for Hong Kong's pro-democracy camp and set the stage for future mobilizations for democratic rights. These early expressions of dissent and demand for democratic reform laid the groundwork for the larger, more organized movements that would follow. They represented the beginning of a long and ongoing struggle, illustrating the deep-rooted desire among Hong Kong citizens to shape their own destiny through democratic means. The Umbrella Movement and its implications. The Umbrella Movement emerged in 2014 as a powerful symbol of resistance, marking a significant escalation in the demand for genuine universal suffrage and a more democratic election process in Hong Kong. Triggered by the decision of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, NPCSC, to pre-screen candidates for the chief executive election, the movement saw thousands of citizens, particularly young people, occupy key areas of the city, using umbrellas to protect themselves against police pepper spray and tear gas. This act of defiance became emblematic of the broader struggle for democracy and civil liberties in the region. The movement's name, the Umbrella Movement, itself encapsulates the creativity and resilience of the protesters, who turned a simple tool of personal protection into a potent symbol of their cause. Despite the peaceful nature of the protests, the government's response was marked by arrests and a strict crackdown on demonstrators, leading to a widespread debate on the use of police force and the right to peaceful assembly. While the Umbrella Movement did not achieve its immediate goal of electoral reform, it had profound implications for Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. It galvanized a new generation of activists, heightened international awareness of Hong Kong's political situation, and intensified local discussions about identity and autonomy. The crackdown on the movement, however, foreshadowed a harsher approach to dissent in Hong Kong, setting the stage for further tensions and the eventual imposition of measures that would severely restrict the city's freedoms and autonomy. The National Security Law and its repercussions. The imposition of the National Security Law by Beijing on Hong Kong in June 2020 marked a turning point in the city's quest for democracy and autonomy. This sweeping legislation, with its broad definitions of secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces, has had a chilling effect on free speech and protest in the region. Activists, politicians, and ordinary citizens now face the daunting possibility of life imprisonment for acts that were previously considered part of Hong Kong's vibrant political discourse. The law's introduction has led to a significant shift in the landscape of Hong Kong's civil society. Prominent pro-democracy figures have been arrested, while others have chosen exile to avoid persecution. Media outlets that once provided critical coverage of the government and its policies have been raided and forced to shut down, signaling a dire contraction of press freedom. This crackdown has not only dismantled the infrastructure of the pro-democracy movement, but has also instilled a pervasive sense of fear and self-censorship among the populace. Educational institutions have not been spared, with the law influencing curriculum changes and fostering an atmosphere of surveillance and reporting among students and faculty. The international community's outcry and subsequent sanctions have yet to yield a change in course from Beijing, which asserts the law is necessary for stability and prosperity. This pivotal development has undeniably transformed the fabric of Hong Kong society, demonstrating the lengths to which the authorities will go to maintain control and suppress dissent, further distancing Hong Kong from the democratic ideals it has long fought to achieve. International reactions and their influence. The global response to the erosion of freedoms in Hong Kong has been one of widespread condemnation and concern. Governments and human rights organizations around the world have voiced their opposition to the measures being imposed by Beijing, highlighting the stark departure from the commitments made under the one country, two systems principle. In a show of solidarity with the people of Hong Kong, several countries have enacted sanctions against Chinese officials deemed responsible for undermining the city's autonomy and human rights. Additionally, diplomatic efforts have intensified, with international forums and alliances calling for a re-evaluation of China's policies in Hong Kong. This concerted international pressure has led to a complex diplomatic standoff, with Beijing asserting its sovereignty and criticizing foreign intervention. The debate has extended beyond government circles, sparking discussions on global platforms about the nature of freedom, sovereignty, and international responsibility. While these actions have not yet resulted in a change of course by Beijing, they underscore the significant global concern for the principles of democracy and human rights in Hong Kong. Amidst this geopolitical tension, the people of Hong Kong have found some measure of moral support in the international community's response. The ongoing attention and advocacy for Hong Kong's situation have helped keep the issue in the global spotlight, ensuring that the voices of those fighting for democracy in the city continue to be heard on the world stage. Voices of resistance and ongoing struggles. In the face of increasing governmental pressure and the shadow of the national security law, the resolve of Hong Kong's pro-democracy activists remains unbroken. These voices of resistance, though stifled by legislation and the threat of severe repercussions, continue to find new and innovative ways to express dissent and call for change. Social media and digital platforms have become critical channels for mobilizing support and sharing the realities of the struggle, ensuring the message of democracy transcends borders. Underground networks and discrete gatherings now serve as the backbone for organizing and planning as public demonstrations face harsh crackdowns. The creativity and adaptability shown by the pro-democracy movement highlight a defiant spirit that refuses to be quashed. This ongoing struggle is a testament to the deep-rooted desire for freedom and self-governance, with activists young and old stepping forward to carry the torch of resistance, undeterred by the daunting path that lies ahead. The future of Hong Kong's democratic movement. The trajectory of the democratic movement in Hong Kong is shrouded in uncertainty as Beijing's grip tightens. Despite the formidable challenges that lie ahead, the spirit of resistance among the city's inhabitants suggests a continued struggle for democratic ideals. The innovative tactics and enduring resolve showcased by activists indicate that efforts to quell the demand for democracy will face persistent opposition. The adaptation of the movement to new forms of protest and the use of digital platforms for mobilization highlight a savvy and flexible approach to activism in the face of repression. Younger generations, inspired by previous movements, are increasingly engaged in creative forms of dissent, signaling a dynamic and evolving resistance. While the immediate outlook may appear grim, the persistence of Hong Kong's citizens in advocating for their rights and freedoms offers a glimmer of hope. The international community's ongoing scrutiny and support play a crucial role in sustaining the morale of the movement and ensuring that the global spotlight remains on Hong Kong's plight. As the city navigates this challenging period, the resolve to fight for autonomy and democratic governance continues to fuel the aspirations of its people, hinting at the enduring nature of their struggle. This channel is made possible by sponsors and viewers like you. For sponsorship opportunities, please contact IH Business at interestinghistory.net.